grind, we will be at the forefront to keep you in the loop every Monday at 8:30 p.m.
Here, like you see, these are the fabrics we use for the sofas. Yeah, there are different types of fabrics. Sabak.
This is the best way to go. Eat color, eat raw, like this is alive.
Well, 2022 is behind us. 2023 is here with us. What are your plans? We here at TV47's Morning Cafe have great plans for you. We're talking about information, we're talking about entertainment, we're talking about the greatness for the year. So make sure that you're always with us every morning.
Kwa muonekano wao hauwezi ukajua waliopitia, kwa sura zao zinapong'aa hauwezi ukafahamu changamoto zao. Nyuma yao ipo stori la historia. Katika kipindi Ufahamu Kiongozi tunakupa nafasi kuweza kuwafahamu kila siku ya Alhamisi kuanzia saa 1:30 kuendelea. Nami Elizabeth Mitu.
Your health matters, and Body Garage is here to guide you on it.
Someone's after using the medication, the virus number of the HIV in someone's body will start to go.
My medication, wherever I go, I must make sure I'm committed to my medication. Yes, and I should watch what I'm eating. I should not just eat from everywhere or not just eat anything.
We talk mental, physical, and spiritual health. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. Lover of farming? Well, Kilimo Diaries is your home for different farming ventures, crops, animals, and so much more. Every Sunday. With a new year comes endless possibilities, and as we continue to tell the stories of those abled differently, do make sure to join us on Beyond the Limit every Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
It's a new year, and with a new year, it means new business ideas, new trends in the market, and new tips to make your current business even better.
Giving an option for a customer to have unsecured financing enables them to get the product today without putting any collateral down.
And we here on The Grind, we will be at the forefront to keep you in the loop every Monday at 8:30 p.m.
Here, like you see, these are the fabrics we use for the sofas. Yeah, there are different types of fabrics. Sabak.
This is the best way to go. Eat color, eat raw, like this is alive.
Well, 2022 is behind us. 2023 is here with us. What are your plans? We here at TV47's Morning Cafe have great plans for you. We're talking about information, we're talking about entertainment, we're talking about the greatness for the year. So make sure that you're always with us every morning.
Kwa muonekano wao hauwezi ukajua waliopitia, kwa sura zao zinapong'aa hauwezi ukafahamu changamoto zao. Nyuma yao ipo stori la historia. Katika kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi, tunakupa nafasi kuweza kuwafahamu kila siku ya Alhamisi kuanzia saa 1:30 kuendelea. Nami Elizabeth Mutuku.
Your health matters, and Body Garage is here to guide you on it.
Someone's, after using the medication, the virus number of the HIV in someone's body will start to go.
My medication, wherever I go, I must make sure I'm committed to my medication. Yes. And I should watch what I'm eating. I should not just eat from everywhere or not just eat anything.
We talk mental, physical, and spiritual health. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. Lover of farming? Well, Kilimo Diaries is your home for different farming ventures, crops, animals, and so much more. Every Sunday, with a new year comes endless possibilities, and as we continue to tell the stories of those abled differently, do make sure to join us on Beyond the Limit every Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
It's a new year, and with a new year, it means new business ideas, new trends in the market, and new tips to make your current business even better.
Giving an option for a customer to have unsecured financing enables them to get the product today without putting any collateral down.
And we here on The Grind, we will be at the forefront to keep you in the loop every Monday at 8:30 p.m.
Yeah, like you see, these are the fabrics we use for the sofas. Yeah, there are different types of fabrics.
Sabak. This is the best way to go. Eat color, eat raw, like this is alive.
Well, 2022 is behind us. 2023 is here with us. What are your plans? We here at TV47's Morning Cafe have great plans for you. We're talking about information, we're talking about entertainment, we're talking about the greatness for the year. So make sure that you're always with us every morning.
Kwa muonekano wao hauwezi ukajua waliopitia. Kwa sura zao zinapong'aa hauwezi ukafahamu changamoto zao. Nyuma yao ipo stori la historia. Katika kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi, tunakupa nafasi kuweza kuwafahamu kila siku ya Alhamisi kuanzia saa 1:30 kuendelea. Nami Elizabeth Mutuku.
Your health matters, and Body Garage is here to guide you on it.
Someone's, after using the medication, the virus number of the HIV in someone's body will start to go.
My medication, wherever I go, I must make sure I'm committed to my medication. Yes. And I should watch what I'm eating. I should not just eat from everywhere or not just eat anything.
We talk mental, physical, and spiritual health. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m.
Contrary to other people, when I have the power, to consider my view right, I'll do everything it takes to have my say and my way at the same time. And I think that that's basically the context within which we are operating in as a people. Because remember that even as the court was saying that these CAS positions need to hold the position, you know, the swearing in was going on, you know, and so the question is it the rule of law? Is it about politics and the next election? Because largely most of those people are people who ran for offices. Number one. The other thing I've heard about what people are saying, which is the second issue, is where is the hustler in the CASs, you know? And you don't see the people who really put this government into office being given their place in the table, at that particular table where the eating is being done, which continues to really, in my view, present very negative notions around Kenya Kwanza government, which is what Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance is taking advantage over, because that matter of CSS has also been adjudicated and discussed in those rallies and demonstrations that Kenya Kwanza is actually presenting. Now, whether the president wants to do your thing because you are shouting about it, or follow his manifesto, because that manifesto is his, embedded in government planning documents and processes, is for us to look at the service delivery aspects. I don't think for us to have proper health care in this country, you need 2 CSs in a ministry. So what will they be doing? I don't think that for foreign affairs to engage effectively in diplomatic matters, you need 2 CSs, you know? Of course, the court has said, because remember that towards the end of the former regime, we were told that these positions were illegal, they are not constitutional and all that, and that matter was actually dispensed in courts, and ultimately they said, it's okay, you can have your CSS.
Would you still be saying the same?
Doing it, Linda, so that I finish on this, I don't think is the right way, considering the context which you presented. So it is up to the President, His Excellency the President, to consider service delivery for Kenyans, and how that is going to be done. If having CSS in offices will give him better gradings and will consider that service delivery to have been rendered to the citizens, it is up to him.
And Gloria,
if Kenyans think that having less people in office will give us better services, it is for them to grade the performance of the
I want to demystify why Kevinosido cannot work for this government.
He does not have the vision.
It's not an issue.
No, I am demystifying. It is, because I'm going to tie it. Because his thoughts around the need of the CASs, based on just what he said, it's clear that he does not understand the Kenya Kwanza manifesto and the political vision of my party leader, who happens to be the president. And I just want, because people have been watching, I want people to know, you know, sometimes when people say, but this is a technocrat. This guy has been in economics for 17 years. He could be a technocrat with the skills, but he has no political view. He does not believe in the political vision, does not believe in the vision where the party leader is actually trying to take
which is why I said, Gloria, that this is a political process.
Exactly. So 2 things that have come out clear. In fact, when he was talking, I said, brilliant. If this was an interview, you are failed. You don't know what the manifesto is about, and hence you cannot serve in this government. So, and I want people to understand that. And, you know, they are hypocrites, Linda. Hypocrites. David Osiani was a CAS. And actually, through the handshake, he was probably the only beneficiary of all the people who ran around for Raila. Through the handshake, he got that CAS position, and he did well.
Merit,
and I want to, no, it's merit is there, but the handshake was there.
The political process.
Because many other people, there's a political process. Because many other people also had the merit, they could have gotten the job, but he had the political vision and the political goodwill, and he was a beneficiary. Please invite him here and ask him what he was doing for 2 years. Because he was a CAS. So when people say these CASs are not needed, they are forgetting ODM people were CASs working and beneficiaries of that handshake and actually in office.
Political process.
When the same ODM people go to the streets and say these 50 CASs should not have been CASs, that could have
20-something were being contested.
Listen, when they're saying that could have been food, my friend, when David Osiani was a CAS, unga ilikuwa how much? His salary ingenunua unga ngapi? So please, hypocritical thinking is being practiced here. And in fact, they should have gone to the streets instead of giving David Osiani that position. And I can even count up to 4, I think. There was another lady who was a CAS
There were so many,
ICT who was also a beneficiary of the handshake. So please, don't come and tell us now, because you are not a beneficiary, that there is no need for this office. David Osiani should tell us if he was just singing songs there for SBA. The whole Zach. If he did nothing, Zach Kinuthia, he should come here and tell us, by the way, hii kitu tulikuwa tunakaa tu kwa office, we were doing nothing. Of course, there is work there, and there is a vision. And the other thing I've told the civil society, and you know Kevin is in the civil society, so many times during the campaign period, and by the way, two things. When you say, where is the hustler in this government? Alela, si tulianza nawe hapa kwa studio.
Tulianza na wenyewe, huyu anaweza kuwa alikuwa hustler, sijui.
Tulianza nawe hapa kwa studio.
Kwa hivyo studio atasema unaendesha gari mzuri.
Alela, acha nikuulize. Tulianza nawe kwa studio hapa. Hata sikuwa
ni hustler. Wacha mimi niseme hivyo. Hata tulianza na yeye na mimi.
Tulianza na yeye.
Assume.
Hata by the way, no, seriously.
Mbona unacheka? You seem to know Gloria so well.
I know Gloria so well.
She's not a hustler.
I know Gloria so well.
Yes. And you know the issue is the assumption of a hustler is a hustler cannot be someone like that one. Hustler must look like this. We defined hustler. I came to studio and defined, but at his jacket,
and she was actually told
hizi jackets nimeanza kununua venye nimeingia bunge. My friend, hizi jackets nimeomoka juzi. So when you say, where is the hustler in that government?
You are the hustler.
Hello.
Okay.
And I'm sitting in
At least he started from scratch. That much I can say. The first time nilimuinterview na Boni Halwali hata hawakuwa.
Yes.
You are interviewing her.
Let's move from
the
there.
first time, but I'm telling you, I know her so well to be a hustler.
So I'm not a hustler?
No, you are not a hustler.
Now let me tell you what I told the civil society during campaign that time, when everyone knew 100%. Sisi tuko na system, tuko na nini. Hata walikuwa wanatuambia kina Kevin were telling us tunabadilisha zile carpet za State House ziende wako na tenda ya interior because we were just waiting.
Gloria,
you see, no one believed in the things that we were doing on the ground. Yeah. Now, I was given one task because, you know, I was in the presidential campaign team. One of my tasks at a certain period of time was to mobilize the civil society because I also come from the civil society. And I had told then the deputy president, now the president, I told him, you know, while we were doing the women charter, the education charter, the youth charter, I told him, there's another constituency of people here that is always fighting for Raia, called the civil society. And there are things that they would wish the current government should have done. Let us go and have a conversation with them so that we can sign a charter with the civil society. We say, for instance, when we go in, these are the things as our government, at least we will work with the civil society. Sinikapewa hiyo task kwenda kutafuta kina Kevin. Let me tell you, they were telling me, we don't do politics.
But there won't be a danger. There won't be a danger. They were telling society.
They were telling me we don't do politics. We don't participate in political obscurity. Let me finish my thought. And then I said, sawa tu. We ended up with a handful like this. We went and met the president. They said, oh, extrajudicial killings, nini, wakapeana vitu zao, which they would like his government, if it came in, to address. You understand? Now, when we were appointing the CSs and the PSs, do you know the people calling me? Or the civil society? So I asked them, you said you don't do politics. You said you cannot give your views on matters that actually affect Kenyans because that is a politician you would be seen to. And you know, when they were telling me that, they were fraternizing with Martha Karua. Oh, you know, Martha Karua is not really a politician because she was also in civil society. I said, ni sawa. Now, when we were appointing people, they came and said, Gloria, you promised a 50% cabinet to be women. I asked that lady who asked me, you should have been in cabinet. You have the technical skills, you have this. You refused to participate in the political process. Now you want a political appointment. How?
Now the question is, why should someone then apply?
It is political.
If really it's going to be a political process, because after all, it is Gloria who is going to go ahead and say, you know, wacha ni fronti jina, consider and all that. What is the essence of all this, you know, now formal processes of apply, what, go through the panel, what and what and what? What is the essence of all this? And Gloria anasema tulikuwa na yeye hapa. Alafu ametoka ameenda government ameniwacha tu hapa. Sijui aliona kama sielewi vision ya Hustler Nation.
Now, Jesus says you don't get because you don't ask.
Yes.
Okay? But for you to be able to ask, you have to be in a position where you have the right to ask. So that's what he's when he's talking about God the Father, he's saying that you have a right to ask him anytime. When it's a political process, you must participate in the political process to have a locus standi to ask.
Okay.
To an extent, the question of interviews is to evaluate the 500-600 people among them who participated in the political process and asking them questions to identify their skills and their ability to be able to fulfill that role. Say, for example, it's a PS role. Find out, there are 1,000 people. How many of them are capable of being able to prosecute the work of a PS or CAS? And then you give the president a good number of people, a pool from which to select from. Now, if you have won a fight, if you have gone and for a hunting, when we were boys, we used to hunt in near Amboseli, and you go and get catch something. You didn't share with all the boys. You shared with the boys who hunted with you. So the question of who gets appointed and for this reason, Gloria is very right. If you didn't participate in the political process, don't ask to be rewarded. And between you and me, there are people at very different levels of that political process, and you have seen even in the past governments, who are given different roles. Like, for example, the ambassadors appointed, I think the current government hasn't even started unraveling the parastatal management, the board of directors and all that. There are so many people that will go in. But if you didn't participate in that process, don't go on that table. You have no right.
Does it not render what the Constitution says then useless?
About what?
This then is a government for every other Kenyan. And I'd love to hear Gloria respond to what...
Hold on.
Yeah.
So that we clarify that. There are political appointments within the government.
Yeah.
And there is a civil service. The civil service... your political inclination does not come in at all. You can be anything within that. But we are talking now about political appointment. I'm not talking about the deputy president's assertion that is a company that we own. No. I know he meant something.
Yes.
But unfortunately, you don't make such statements because you are sure they will be misinterpreted, and they were misinterpreted.
You know, in Kisii County, Gloria was there. They had gone there with the deputy president, who also reminded them, "Mata Kisii nimepata mingi sana kushinda." I don't know whether they were so happy about that statement. By
I think the challenge that we are having now is the political
rhetoric.
No, the political language and the political culture has changed. Before, you could not even hear people talking about how they are going to form government, because it was considered like usiambie watu. But, and that was the politics of deceit. Yeah. Because then they will just carry some people knowing very well we are not going to appoint them, but they just carry them anyway. Now we are seeing the politics of truth. Truth. Mtu tu anakuambia ukweli venye iko. So what the deputy president said was that of the 100% votes of Kisii, you gave us this percentage. But because the president loves the Kisii people, he has decided to overlook that percentage you gave is this. Because he loves you, he has given
more than what you deserve.
Yes. And I think for me, I take it lightly in the sense that, now there was some sort of awareness that if we are going to be at the decision-making table in the next cycle, we need to make a decision. Yeah, he was basically saying, mutembeni na sisi, because tuliwambia last time mutembe na sisi and you said no. But look, now tumefika State House. Na nyinyi hamko. So it is like some truth that is being given to the electorate while you are making your decisions at the ballot. Ask yourself, will I benefit from this decision? Because truthfully, when you are voting, you are voting for you, your family, your people. You're voting to say, if this person comes in, bursary will be there, this will be there, I will benefit. You must be able to benefit in a way. And if you're not benefiting, that's why unaona wanasema kura ziliuzwa. Because they don't care. They know in their heads, they know they won't benefit in any way. So they better give out that vote. Okay. And I think, for me, I love that politics because mtu anakuambia ukweli. They just tell you the truth as it is.
Kevin Osido, I will allow you to speak after this short break. We come back, discuss maandamano because tomorrow it's Thursday. But at the same time, communication of the government after this break.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
It's a new season. Gathered for one reason.
We have looked at Pan-Africanism as a way to unite all of us.
Climate change is the one that's affecting our marine life.
Debate.
Tell me, if we do not borrow, where would we be?
What does GMO offer? It offers longer shelf life for these foods. Devolution was not a one-man army that was going to come here and take us by storm all on its own.
Young people drawn from across hundreds of schools in the country. The battle of minds. This is the debate cycle. Authentic, natural, planned. Transforming. Endless benefits. Slaty, purely Kenyan. Buy now on Jumia or Amazon.
Watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Well, Kevin Osido says the process is political. Gloria Roba says, well, it is necessary to have these CSs, operating in these ministries because they are needed. Senior here has told us a couple of things in relation to what is with the bigger brothers and what is playing out home. We said we are at what category again?
Idiots.
Idiots.
We are idiots and fighting. Majority.
It's not an unfortunate thing to say.
Not an idiot.
Yes, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, you're part of the 5%.
Of course, looking at, for me, and I want to encourage any Kenyan there, that you don't have to be political for you to benefit from any government.
It shouldn't be that.
Like Kevin Osido myself, I take pride in the fact that almost, at least there are over 11, if not 17, members of parliament elected that I can call on my phone and sit from both sides of the political divide and engage and raise concerns and probably even find answers without necessarily having to be very immersed. And this is based on past experiences, the journey we have walked in terms of just being friends or working together. And of course, I do consultancies for MPs and senators and governors. I don't have to really be seen to be appointed or be there because I'm either ODM or Kenya Kwanza or Jubilee or whatever. So the Kenyan who is listening to us and is waking up every day and hoping one day to be a cabinet secretary, of course the dream is there, but you really don't have to be looking at yourself as, I must be political, I must take sides. There are people who have benefited because of that. There are also people who have lost heavily because of those kind of political decisions. So it's purely based on the kind of context which we set for ourselves and the decisions that we make. Once you get into government, people expect that you're going to be magnanimous enough, whether they voted for you or not. Why? Because you are in government, and part of why government is running is because of taxpayers' monies, and these are people who are waking up probably earlier than the deputy president, or they may not even be sleeping, with the hope that tomorrow is going to be better. So the kind of, which is why I said it's purely on the president's purview. If he thinks that 50 plus CSS will help him deliver for Kenyans, well and good. If Kenyans think that that is too much, it is for them to rate His Excellency the President. Of course, beyond that is the intention and the interest, because these positions are advertised for. It is what is legally expected. Of course, there is a lobbying process that comes with it. And the fact that you must really be known, because that interview is going to be written questions. The people who ask the questions, for example, are probably people who you know yourself, yourselves, you have walked different paths, you have engaged at different levels. And then ultimately, Kenyans are there to watch you, because these days it's live on TV. If you do well, we call you very good, excellent. If you do bad, we rate you as an idiot, because you can't answer simple questions. You don't know even the basic mission of a ministry or a department. I think it's a good thing the president has done, for the fact that you actually can't blink an eye to award your loyalists, which is something that Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga has failed many times to be able to do, because almost 78% of those who are now working with President William Ruto, including the president himself, have worked with Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga.
Yeah.
What is it that President Ruto is doing very well that Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga has failed to do? I think from either sides of the political divide, there are lessons which you learn from each other. And you don't have to be too old a man to learn from a very young man. And the young man also doesn't have to be bragging and saying, you are too old, there's nothing I can learn from you. It's a journey of life. And the government sets its own agenda. I think Kenya Kwanza has set its agenda in the manner that it wants to be able to execute its responsibilities. One of the things I think that Kenya Kwanza government has not done very well, of course you said we are coming to communication and how government is communicating, is to change the narrative that from the political campaigns where they told us is actually a plug and play, that we know where the money is, we know who is doing the wrong thing. When we get into government, we will do it, and within 100 days, you will see miracles happening, and we are going to be praying heavens are going to come down. That is really where Kenyans are asking, what ultimately went wrong? And it is not for the Kenyan to be told, go and read our manifesto. Manifestos mean nothing if it is not put in a planning document. And that's why I said earlier on, the president doesn't have money in Gunibag somewhere at State House or in his residence in Sugoi, where he'll send choppers to go and bring money and do miracles. It has to be budgeted for. It has to be money that is traceable within the systems in terms of revenue generation. It has to be money that can be accounted for, you know. And if we fail, if the government fails, I'm speaking we as if I am in government, if the government fails to explain that to Kenyans, I'm part of government by virtue of paying my taxes.
Yes.
If that the communication is not clear, Linda, then definitely there are going to be so many questions because nobody is answering them.
Okay, and before we get to know whether Mzee ataenda akiendanga, quote and quote, I ask this on the question of communication. And interestingly, Dr. Masanga is watching from London. He says, do they remember one man who told Kenyans redemption strategy is the way to go? Well, I am watching from abroad, and of course, there is nothing that will come forth until Kenyans are willing to redempt, until Kenyans are willing to go back on the table. I don't know how much more beyond the handshake, which was also a form of redemption, which really did not yield much. But here we are, Senior.
Yeah.
The communication strategy for or of the government. What do you make of it? And I'm very keen on not to rub my colleagues the wrong way, because like you have heard someone saying that we are the ones who are occupying State House so much, so but we seem not to be doing much. You know.
Don't fear rubbing people on the side, because you know, in order for you to get tomorrow, in order for you to get tomorrow what others don't have, tomorrow you have to do today what others don't do.
Yeah.
You've heard a senator saying that I wish I actually put more effort, because there'll be more rewards into that. So you got to act. I think we're in a very difficult situation, if you ask me, because we are not civil in the way we talk with each other, especially on the political divide. And unfortunately, the game of politics is about propaganda. It's about using that propaganda. Like Joel Goebbels said, that when you tell people something continuously, it doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong, people believe it. We're in that space with so much propaganda, and the purpose of propaganda is to seduce people to your side. To an extent, we have an opposition, if I can call them, that are on the streets, hoping that they can bring down the government of the day, claiming some clauses on constitution that the government can be directly or indirectly and all that, without reading the whole constitution to understand the interpretation of that statement. Do they know? Yes, they do. It's an issue of wanting that. Now, if you are people that desire to tell people what is happening, you find yourself in a very difficult position, because you're really fighting propaganda. And I don't envy the Kenya Kwanza communication teams, because whatever truth you tell is counted by propaganda. Whatever truth you tell is counted by propaganda. And people believe and love propaganda more than the truth, the average human being. Because propaganda takes them to ethereal position. It takes them to heaven, akin to, and I'm a Christian, so this is not about Christians, where certain pastors have come up who tell you, give me your money, so that you can go enjoy heaven. So what I mean, you enjoy hapa duniani na 6 escalades, na nyinyi mtaenda kuenjoy nini? In heaven. That's the power of propaganda. So I think with the recruitment, I've seen a recruitment of a lot of people who have been in communication industry, being recruited in various positions, including, I think, the ministry. The last one was a journalist from Citizen going to the ministry. So they have a big job to be able to counter this propaganda in a way that people are able to listen to the truth. The truth is hard. The truth is this government has been in power for 7 months. The truth is the economy has been messed over the last couple of years, 60 to be precise, 60 years. The truth is that economy cannot turn around in 100 days. That's the truth. Who wants to listen to that? No one. Because the reality right now is that I don't have food. Is my situation worse than I was that last year? The people who are spreading propaganda are telling me that, so I believe that my situation is completely worse than last year. So the position is, if they're listening to me, they really have to put on their thinking caps, so that they must be able to give that truth, not just boom, like they do it. Like what I mentioned, and Senator mentioned it, that this government to the Gawana, the truth.
But how do you frame it?
How do you frame it so that it doesn't get misinterpreted?
And sometimes we might blame them, but they are things that are quite, difficult to defend. So how do you expect for them to defend the undefendable?
No, it's not. It's not difficult things to defend. For me, I say, and I am not fearful to say this, our communications team has failed. Remember when we introduced the notion of the hustler nation? It was completely misunderstood. People came with class war, propaganda, but we managed. We literally managed to even define who a hustler is. At one point, everyone understood that as long as you're waking up early, going to work to earn some sort of money, you're hustling. So if we managed to change the politics from a tribal perspective to an issue-based politics in under 2 years, because it was in under 2 years.
Is it not the same communication team that you work
in under 2
years?
What has
changed?
In under 2 years, we managed to carry such a big narrative from one point to the next. Then that's why I'm saying, I know we have the capacity. I know we had, probably then we had more drive, because our eye was on the goal in terms of getting into office. And I just think that we have actually, as a communication team, we've really just taken a back seat. Because there is a notion sometimes that some people have that, wacha waongee, sisi tuendelee tu ku ensure the dollar is not, further becoming stronger, au wakiongea sisi tunafanya kazi. And it could be a narrative that they believe, but the worst of it is that Kenyans now believe that serikali haifanyi kazi. And the worst thing about that is then, that those are the people following Raila Odinga, because they have been brainwashed with a narrative that this government is not working, and so we are going to the streets to make them work. But if the other night I was having a conversation with one of the journalists, and I realized, because we were chatting back and forth, and they were saying, no, but the situation is worse than it was, and this and that. And you know, I could tell this person has literally drank that narrative, and now they are telling me.
Does it require,
to the extent that they were telling me, you know, hata nyinyi mumeingia mukaongeza new taxes. For instance, the bank transfer tax. And I was like, my goodness, that's even that has been twisted. Yet before Corona, you used to be charged for bank transfer, bank to mobile transfer. You used to be charged. The reason it was dropped is because people were staying home, and because of Corona, people were doing online payments. So the bank was forced to ensure that there's no cash transaction. It was forced to, you know, suspend those charges at that time. The same way we were wearing masks even when we were coming to studio. Once the Corona thing, you know, died out, then everything went back to how it was before. But unfortunately, now someone is saying, nyinyi hata mumeingia mukatuintroducea bank charges. You see how someone has even twisted that narrative. So for me, I think our communications team, and I know they are listening to me because we also have monitoring on, and I think we have lapsed. Because Alela, when we rolled out the fertilizer distribution, nothing, nobody even knew that fertilizer was available. To an extent that I said, this is so horrible because it's such a good thing that government is doing. And it was, you know, before they had like, you could only buy a certain amount. So even the bigger farmers, the farmers who had like a bigger land used to say, you fertilizer itusaidi, because me, if I have 1,000 acres and you're giving me 4 bags, it's the limit of which I can buy, then it doesn't help me. We removed even the limit. You could go there and buy the things that we have done around agriculture and that Kenyans are not being told about, and maybe only, and that's why unaona hakuna maandamano where the farmers are farming. Because hao wanaenda kuandamana nini? They know they've gotten fertilizer, they know they've gotten extension officers back at work.
Honorable Nabina, you know, here, who's a farmer as well, arguing that fine, fertilizer could have been
forget
there,
about fertilizer.
Quality.
No, forget about fertilizer. You know, they'll shift the goalpost. Anyone who wants to support mediocrity and maandamano will shift the goalpost because they never had fertilizers. Now they have fertilizers, but they're telling you, but the quality of fertilizers, come on. It's the same way now, kama mtu ako na njaa, umpeleke mahindi. Hafu anza kwanza kwamba lakini ongeleta na maragwe. It's the same thing. So, no, but you know that is what normally happens.
Yeah, but how do you eat?
No, for instance, I'm in community worker, and we do a lot of community-based work in the slums and in certain places. Do you know that even now the NGOs know that there are certain slums that they don't go? Yeah. Because wamekuwa na entitlement. Okay. So you will go there with a good program. You are even giving grants to start businesses. It'll start 10,000 itafungua nini. You sasa ndanunua tu nini ya choma sausage moja. Na mimi nilikuwa nataka kuuza hadi ile ya chips. Yeah, imagine. So because there's that idea of now I'm entitled, you must help me. And that's what's happening. But I blame the communications team because if we didn't talk about the good things around distribution of fertilizer and the availability of the same, about extension officers going back, do you know we're not even talking about community health workers getting on payroll? Community health workers are now on payroll. We're not talking about it.
If
when people are going to Mandamano, when people are going to Mandamano, they are not telling people the truth. Because 50% of the people going to Mandamano who used to be community health workers without pay are now on pay.
This is a government that is on budget, and I mean that has a budget for communication and all that. And we all understand how important communication is. But do we have to blow the trumpet that hard for us to know that a government is performing, that a government is doing a good job? And we have seen even, okay, let's just take Tanzania for instance, next door, and we have seen Tundu Lissu even go into the global, you know, space to speak ill about what is happening down there. But on general perspective, the people down there are saying, you know what, we feel like the government is doing something for us without much of noise, without much of, you know, propaganda, without much of, the government sending its communication team to speak about it. And sometimes it's just the president who says, heavy, and that's just it. Do we really require the trumpet blown so hard to know that the government is working for its people?
Linda, we don't have to. When the government is in place and systems are working and everyone is doing what they're supposed to do, putting their hands on deck to ensure that the government delivers its promise to the people, the promissory note in the manifesto. You don't have to really shout about it and brag about it. The challenge that Kenya Kwanza government has is that there were lots of promises And I agree with you to the extent that the team that handled the campaigns really did better. Remember that that's part of why the former President Uhuru Kenyatta's government was really seen to have failed in a number of things, whereas towards the tail end of his regime or his presidency, we used to see leaflets and communication documents being churned out. We have spent this to do this, which was coming way too late. But that was happening because he was interested and vested in Azimio, and he probably had a preferred candidate. For the Kenya Kwanza government and President William Ruto, who is such a hard worker, and I think that's probably one of the challenges that he's having with the people that are around him, because he's a gentleman who wants to deliver certain things, and the speed, the strength, the energy is more or less weighed down because of lack of synergy. Because as Gloria says, maybe they've taken a back seat and are saying, okay, now our eyes were on this goal, we already have scored, and so what is it next? But remember that for somebody who wants to be in government and who wants to run a government, that is when work actually begins. And maybe it's time that the communications team took a retreat and invited some of us, if they so wish and desire, to help them understand government.
Kevin anajua
Consultancy basic.
Anajua
Consultancy basic.
Anatafuta kazi.
Wache nimalize Gloria. Si ulisema, we agreed that I don't have to be a CAS.
They can consult.
I am hustling in a suit at that time, for example. So that they understand, because I think that's one of the challenges that this government has had. To a level where, for example, yesterday I was having a conversation with some people who are supposed to be in the provincial administration, and even up to the level of the chiefs. No one in government, from what is perceived, has talked to them around what is government's promise to you, what is your role and responsibility. Of course, that is really put in document, in employment terms and whatever it is that they're supposed to do. But it's not just about pacifying a section of people by being on TV, on radio, you can be doing a lot down there and people feel you. And just by being there, the time that you spend on TV and on radio is time which makes it much more valuable for people to feel you and get to understand what you are saying by what you are actually doing.
Okay.
For this government and the context that we already put up earlier on is a government that I think is under siege by Azimio. And these are people who have already threatened that every Monday, please note.
And Thursday.
And Thursday, there shall be a maandamano. Mupende, musipende. Now, what is the communication team supposed to do? Go to TV on Monday and say, oh, you see people wake up, go and work. I think the government needs to invest a lot of energy and strength in helping the people see those promises that the government promised before it was elected. Okay. I don't think that Kenya Kwanza government is thinking the way we are saying it. And maybe it's because we are outsiders to the government. There could be other unmet expectations, things that they agreed on before they went into office. And maybe some of them are looking forward to those things that you were promised. We are not seeing them, so why should I work so much hard? Maybe some of them are thinking, okay, certain positions have not been filled up, and I know that so and so has been brought on board, so pengine sitakuwa huko, why should I spend much time working? Yeah. But one thing I know about the president is he has the ability to assemble a team, which is why, as opposed to working with Mheshimiwa Raila, Amolo Odinga and all the others, he has been able to ascend to the level of being a president. Yeah. He needs to transmit that energy to the people that he's working with. Yeah. Hussein Mohammed alone, and I don't think that you have to be in a TV station like Alela to actually be a good communication secretary.
No, it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah, so those are some of the realities that I think
that is a plus.
Team, of course it is a plus because of you have the networks, you have...
That is the reason why.
Like now you can do very well because you understand what research means.
Let me talk
before you do your stories, you know the right questions to ask.
I mean...
Yeah, so I think the part of it could be lack of just purely communicating the agenda against the unmet promises and the unmet expectations.
And we have about 6 minutes to be out of this space. Okoma says there is no communication strategy, but there is showbiz strategy where people have occupied positions without communicating. There is a policy, but no salesmanship. Stop talking about Hitler who died 70 years ago. Kenyatta handed over power peacefully. Why do we keep lamenting? So I think it's time that you proceed to hire communications consultants, like he says, you know, spin doctors for that very matter. the Linda Alelas of this world. We're not asking for a job. We are comfortable here, but yes, I mean, you do not know. But Senior, tomorrow is Maandamano Day.
Yep. Yes, unfortunately. Unfortunately, because the country is losing. The issues that are being propagated are either within the law or require time. Things like IBC, there's a law that guides that. People, things like, and remember, unfortunately, for the first time, we have Maandamano whose agenda is changing every Maandamano. We started talking in January when the first, I think, 14 days were given. It was about get out of State House. Your government is illegitimate. The following day, 2 weeks after that, instead of Maandamano to start now to get him out of State House, it changed to that the food is expensive. After that, the third one, now when we went to Maandamano, open the server, IBC. And by the way, I must demystify this whole business opening the server. The results are on public portal. What do you want to see in the server? In the Supreme Court, 51 constituencies, the server was opened, the votes counted, the Form 30 verified between the ones that were available physical and the ones that were on the server. 51 constituencies, the votes counted, the Form 34A agreed. And we know in science,
a dark room where
in a science, it was in an open. It was an open. It was an open. It was, the results were given in court. And nobody, in that court, nobody doubted on that. 51 constituencies out of 290 constituencies is a huge percentage.
The 51, they were being double-checked by themselves.
Exactly.
People were there.
See, that's why the server was open for them. So we are not going to get anything.
That's what is the server.
So the issue now is that just like any other propaganda, the Azimio Brigade are using the fact that the cost of living is high. Has it started now? No. It was high last year when we were being told mnabweka. When we were complaining then, tulikuwa tunabweka kama umbwa. The point is they're using that propaganda idea to mess up the economy that would allow the cost of living to go down. Okay. So you're using an instrument to destroy something that should give a solution to what you have. This government has been in place for 7 months. Please make decision whether you're going to, and I'm talking to the Azimio Brigade led by Raila Odinga, just make a decision whether you're going for the Maandamano because you have an illegitimate government that is in power because of the constitution that Kenyans promulgated in 2010, or is about food. If it's about food, please ask your members of parliament. Ask your members of Senate, because then you want the government to calm down. Ask them to resign tomorrow morning so that they are also not part of that government. It's a quicker way to collapse the government.
We are extremely out of time. Gloria Oroba, you keep referring to what played out in 2007, 2008, reminding us of your little boy. And here we are as a country, and God forbid, we are not trying to prophesy doom that such is the direction that we would take. But we also are not blind to the fact that we have seen nations go down, right from such, such processes, or right from such acts. Here we are today, again tomorrow. We do not want to see the ugly pictures of what played out on Monday. What next? Mzee anaenda akiendanga, or what exactly?
We will not allow. In fact, me, I'm very confident. We will not allow. And when I say we, I am talking for so many Kenyans who are so tired of Raila and the stories. 2007, 2008 is when my son was born, 2008 January. He's 15 years old. For 15 years, someone comes with the same narrative of kuibiwa. We are tired. There's a fatigue. I was just talking when we were off here. We were in Migori over the weekend with the president in Rongo, where a chopper of any would not land because ungerushiwa mawe. And those people are tired. They listened to the president said what he had to say, they allowed us to live peacefully. So this thing of Maandamano is about one person pushing for their own interest. And the sad reality is, when you look at the country, and even tomorrow I'm sure where you're stationing your journalists, Kibera, Kisumu. There are those areas tumeshajua. Wewe unaenda wapi? Wewe unaenda Kibera. Wewe unaenda wapi? Wewe unaenda Kisumu. Ikienda sana maybe kidogo kidogo Kawangware. Even Kawangware squeeze is hit or miss for news, right? Those are the places where Raila got the highest votes. And those are the places he is banning.
And those are the people that we cannot overlook, Gloria, because they are Kenyans and they
I
are
want those
supporters
people to listen to me. Those are the...
As we sum it up.
Kibera, ndio, hata wangefunga macho, kura ilikuwa ya Raila. That is why even Nixon Korir and the guys of Langata, that side, they felt it. Yeah? These are the places where they voted for Raila, highest number of votes wherever in those places. And yet, those are the places he is banning, because it is him who is pushing people there to start throwing stones to policemen. And then when they throw stones to policemen, are you expecting a policeman atasimama akuangalie? They will push back. And so that's what I'm saying. Wewe uende upigie mtu kura, alafu Monday na Thursday aanze kukuchomea duka. What kind of thinking is this?
Wacha tuseme hakuchoma duka, Gloria Ruto.
No, you know, because
he's been advocating for peaceful
demonstrations. No, let me ask you. Every single time, the last 2 weeks, when have people died? Monday. Monday, Tuesday.
All these are the days.
When have shops been burnt or stoned? Monday. So it is mandamano. Mandamano equals violence, equals loss of life, equals loss of property.
Are we missing the point when we attribute this to Raila largely?
Me, I'm just saying, if this person honestly was a person who cares about his voters, because those are his voters. By the way, in Kibera, they didn't vote for Ruto.
We have to close.
Those are his voters. If he cares about his voters, why would you? That is where you are taking care of.
I'll repeat this.
Let me conclude by saying, anyone who's lying to you, enda kwa street Monday na Thursday. Imagine unaacha kazi yako, munafunga, munaambiwa si Monday ni maandamano, then you go to the streets. That person does not care about the economy, does not care about the development of this country, does not care about holding the Kenya shilling to be strong. They don't care.
Does the government care?
And that's why they keep saying it is time that the president talks to Raila. And I've been telling the president, if there's anyone you're going to have a handshake with, a conversation with, call those people in Kibera who are throwing stones.
And not
call those people in Dagoretti who are going on the streets. Call those people in Kisumu,
we have to close.
Put them in Kasarani, do handshakes with those ones, talk to those ones. Do not call these people who are looking for.
Are we losing it when we attribute this to Raila? 30 seconds.
30 seconds, I can't respond.
1 minute.
Yeah, would better just
1
close.
minute.
Linda, I think we are losing it, but I've continuously said that the message is rife. The messenger is not the right messenger, the person carrying that message. And actually the receivers have mixed signals, okay? So you have the frequency which is ringing this and a frequency which is ringing that. So that message is not very clear. It's like simu inapoteza network. Ile mtu anakuambia unapotea. That is what Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance is doing. So what are we doing? We're actually beating the drum, those drum beats of 2007, 2008. When you see churches being burnt down, when you see mosques being burnt and people are saying, mmechoma mosque yetu, tunakujia kanisa yenu, this is going to continue. And so who is going to blink first? Between Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga and Mheshimiwa William Samoei Arap Ruto. In my view, to be honest with you, I think the greatest responsibility here is with His Excellency the President.
Right.
He is the President of the Republic of Kenya. He has been very consistent that I am willing to have a conversation with anyone on the development and progress of this country.
Right.
It will not take anything from President William Ruto to have a conversation
with the
former Prime Minister. Of course, he has conversations with the people every day.
We have to close.
But I think on this one, the biggest responsibility, the honors, in my view, and I want to request the President, have a dialogue. I'm not talking about a handshake. Have a conversation.
Whichever way they will label it. Whether
30 seconds?
Senior, we can't take 30 seconds.
Just only one comment. For information of viewers, when President was in Kisii, he actually invited Raila Odinga to go and have a conversation with him.
Who will blink first? Who will blink first? Maybe
so
that
I was addressing that issue.
Yes.
He should. He has already done it.
All right. So maybe that was a blink that we all did not see, or maybe that the Right Honourable
That is his view, but I won't respond to it.
We join the rest of the people of Banisa to condole on the loss of their member of parliament who passed on yesterday night, Mr. Hassan, who died on Tuesday evening at City Hospital while receiving treatment following a hit-and-run motorcycle accident in Nairobi. We'll be getting details or more updates on that to update you later. But at this very point, I want to say thank you so much, last speaker, that is a senior right here, Engineer Alex Mwathi, for speaking to us this morning.